It's crazy, right? It feels like we're just talking about the first AI images that actually look like something. Now it's like every day there's some new breakthrough and...
Yeah, and it can be a lot to keep up with. It feels like you're constantly trying to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like drinking from a fire hose almost.
Exactly. That's kind of why we're trying something a little different today.
Yeah, like instead of trying to hit every single headline, we thought we'd go deep on one really good source.
Yeah, so today we're doing a deep dive into the AIDB newsletter, the one that came out today.
And March 25th, 2025.
Right. And even just in this one issue, there's like 4 huge stories that we really want to get into.
Definitely.
We've got a brand new image model that's already topping all the charts, seemingly out of nowhere. Then there's a big update to a major language model, but it hasn't gotten a lot of attention.
Yeah, kind of flying under the radar.
We're also going to dig into the rollout of Google's real-time AI video features. You know, the ones we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah, those have been a long time coming.
And then to top it all off, a pretty big claim out of China about how they're making breakthroughs in AI by using chips that they're making themselves.
So yeah, we got a lot to cover today.
Okay, let's get into it. So the first thing that caught my eye in the newsletter was this new image model, Reve Image 1.0. And it seems like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it kind of just appeared and immediately jumped right to the top spot.
Like it's already number 1.
Right. What's really interesting here is how quiet this whole thing has been. It's like they just snuck up on everyone.
And now this Reve Image 1.0, it's called Half Moon apparently. It's at the very top of artificial analysis's image arena. I mean, it's above everything.
Outperforming some of the biggest names out there.
Google's Imagen 3, Midjourney V6.1. I mean, these are the ones that everyone was talking about like last week. What's this Reve doing that they aren't?
So according to the newsletter, Reve is all about bringing logic into image generation. And it sounds like it actually works. People are reporting that the prompts are super accurate. Like it actually understands what you're asking for. Which, as we all know, has been a bit of a struggle for some of these other models.
Yeah, some of them have been hit or miss.
Exactly. On top of that, the text rendering is supposed to be really good. You know how some models have trouble with text inside the image? Like it comes out blurry or just weird?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This one is supposed to be very clear and high quality. And of course, the image quality overall is supposed to be pretty amazing.
So they're not just focused on making pretty pictures. They're also making sure it actually understands what you want and can even handle text well, which is a big deal. Is there anything else that stands out?
Yeah, actually, a couple things. The newsletter mentioned that it can handle longer and more complicated prompts,
Okay.
which is pretty cool. And they also have this natural language editing feature. So you can like talk to it, tell it what you want to change, and it'll adjust the image.
So you don't have to go in and mess with all those sliders and settings.
Right. Apparently, it's pretty intuitive.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can also upload your own photos and use the AI to change them.
Like upscale them
Or get creative with them. Do all kinds of stuff like that. And then there's this whole community aspect, too. There's a tab where you can see what other people are doing, see their prompts and the images they're generating.
Oh, so you can get ideas from other people.
Exactly.
And the newsletter mentioned that there's a free preview right now.
Yeah, you can try it out yourself, see what it's all about.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're not giving out API access just yet.
So they're playing it close to the chest. And Riv said that there's much more is coming soon. So I guess this is just the beginning.
Sounds like it.
Okay, so we've got this brand new model that's suddenly at the top of the heap. What's the takeaway here? Why should people care?
Well, I think the main thing is just how fast things are moving. Even with these big names already out there, there's still room for new players to come in and shake things up.
Yeah, it feels like the whole game is changing every week.
And Reve is a good example of that. It's got this incredible photorealism. It actually follows your prompts. It has editing tools that are easy to use. And it can even handle text really well. And that's something you didn't see all in one package before.
You used to have to choose one or the other.
Right. So this could be a big step forward for the whole field.
And a reminder that we really don't know what's coming next.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Okay, let's move on to the second big story from the newsletter. DeepSeek's V3 upgrade. This one seems a little more under the radar.
Yeah, it hasn't been as splashy as the Reve launch. But it could be just as important.
The newsletter's making a big deal out of this, so what's the scoop?
First of all, it's huge. It's a 641 GOB model.
Whoa, that's massive.
And get this, it can apparently run on high-end personal computers.
Like a Mac Studio.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of blowing people's minds because usually something that big needs a whole data center to run.
I mean, how is that even possible?
So apparently the secret is in the architecture. It uses a mixture of expert system. So basically, it only uses the parts of the model that are relevant to the task at hand.
So it's kind of like having a huge team of experts, but you only call in the ones you need for a particular problem.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
a really good way to put it. So it has all this power, but it only uses what it needs at any given moment.
And this makes it much more efficient so it can run on regular computers.
Right. And on top of that, people are saying that it's even better than the previous version in terms of performance.
Yeah.
Like the math and coding capabilities are supposed to be much improved.
And I remember one quote from the newsletter that said something like, "It's the best non-reasoning model out there."
Yeah, that definitely caught my eye. And another interesting thing is that they've switched to an open source license, an MIT license.
Which is a big change from their previous V3 model, right? That one was more locked down.
Yeah, so this new one is much more open. People can use it, modify it, share it. So we could see a lot more innovation happening around this model.
So even though this DeepSeek update hasn't been getting a ton of press, it could have a huge impact.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, it shows that China is still making big strides in AI. And the fact that this model can run on more accessible hardware, that opens up a lot of possibilities. More people can experiment with it, develop new applications.
Doesn't have to be just these big companies with tons of resources.
Right. And then there's also the upcoming R2 release that everyone's buzzing about.
Oh yeah, the newsletter mentioned that.
If this V3 update is already this good, imagine what R2 is going to be like. Some people are even saying that it could put China in the lead when it comes to AI.
So DeepSeek is definitely a company to watch. Okay, moving on to our third topic. This one's been a long time coming.
Yeah, the suspense is over. Google is finally rolling out its real-time AI video features for Gemini.
Powered by Project Astra, right?
That's the one. And this is something they've been teasing for almost a year, so people have been waiting for this.
Yeah, we talked about it when they first demoed it.
And now it's finally happening.
So basically, Gemini can now see the world through your phone or your computer. It can understand what it's looking at and answer questions about it.
Right, exactly. And the newsletter highlights two main features that are rolling out. First, Gemini can see your screen. So if you're looking at something on your computer or phone, you can ask Gemini questions about it.
And it can actually understand what's on the screen.
Yeah, it's not just reading text, it's actually processing the image.
Wow. And the newsletter mentioned a Reddit user who already has access to this.
Yeah, apparently they posted a video showing it off. Pretty cool stuff.
And the second feature is live video interpretation. So Gemini can actually look at the real world through your phone's camera and answer questions about what it sees.
Right, like the example they gave was someone using it to choose a paint color for pottery.
So it can help you make decisions in real time based on what it sees. That feels like a major step forward for AI assistants.
Yeah, it's not just about voice commands anymore. It's about being able to interact with the world visually. And that opens up a ton of possibilities.
And who gets to play with these new toys first?
Well, according to the newsletter, it's rolling out to Gemini Advanced subscribers who are also on the Google One AI premium plan. So it's kind of a limited release for now.
Makes sense to start with the premium users, but it sounds like it'll eventually be available to everyone.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll expand it gradually.
Okay, so Google is finally bringing this real-time AI vision to life. What's the big picture here?
I think it shows that Google is really ahead of the curve when it comes to AI assistants. Apple has been talking about doing something similar with Siri, and Amazon is supposed to be working on something for Alexa, but Google is the first one to actually get it out there.
And they already have a huge user base, with Gemini being the default assistant on Samsung phones, so that gives them a big head start.
Definitely. It seems like Google's really leading the way in making AI assistants more intuitive and integrated with the real world.
Can you tell me everything you see on the screen right now?
Okay, I see your phone screen. There's a notification saying you're live with Gemini, and it's been about 7 minutes. The time is 8:50 p.m., the weather's 71 degrees, and the date is March 23rd. Anything else I can help you with?
Can you guess which Android launcher am I using?
It's tricky to say for sure, just from the icons and layout. It looks very customized. If you tell me more about what you like about it, that might give me a better clue.
In all of these apps, which is the most relevant to my major?
The code editor icon stands out. Is that one related to your major?
Can you play a video from YouTube?
So, I can't control YouTube yet when we are live. For now, going live is great for things like chatting, finding answers, or brainstorming new ideas.
All right, let's move on to our final topic. This one is potentially a huge shakeup in the world of AI hardware.
Yeah, this one caught my attention. Ant Group in China is claiming that they've been able to reduce their AI training costs by 20% by using chips made in China.
Wow, 20%, that's significant.
And they're saying they haven't seen any major drop in performance, which is kind of amazing.
So they're basically saying they can get the same results but cheaper by using these Chinese-made chips instead of Nvidia.
Right. And this comes at a time when the U.S. is restricting exports of advanced AI chips to China. So it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, if this is true, it could change the whole game.
The newsletter says that Ant Group has been using chips from Alibaba and Huawei as alternatives to Nvidia.
And apparently they're getting great results. This reminds me of that story about DeepSeek maybe not needing as many Nvidia chips as everyone thought.
Yeah, it seems like China's making real progress in developing their own AI hardware. And this Ant Group story could be a sign of things to come.
So if this claim turns out to be legit, what does it mean for the AI landscape?
Well, for China, it could mean a lot more independence when it comes to AI. They wouldn't have to rely on U.S. companies for the hardware.
Yeah, they could build their own AI ecosystem from the ground up.
Exactly. And that could have a ripple effect on the global AI market. It could even challenge Nvidia's dominance.
But the newsletter also mentioned that some Chinese companies are still finding ways to get Nvidia chips.
Yeah, it's a complicated situation. It's not a clear-cut case of one side winning over the other.
And neither Ant Group nor Nvidia has made any official statements about this, so it's still kind of a mystery how much of this is real.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But it's definitely something to watch.
For sure. Okay, so that covers the 4 big stories from today's AIDB newsletter. We've got this new Reve Image model that's making waves. DeepSeek is making big strides with its language model. Google is finally bringing real-time AI video to the masses. And China might be on the verge of shaking up the AI hardware market.
It's a lot to digest. But it's also incredibly exciting to see all this happening so quickly.
Yeah, the pace of innovation in AI is just mind-blowing. And it makes you wonder, what's next? What are the possibilities that we haven't even thought of yet?
And what are the challenges that come along with all this progress?
Yeah, that's a big question. How to make sure that AI benefits everyone and doesn't create new problems that we're not prepared for? It's a lot to think about.
Definitely gives us a lot to discuss in future deep dives.
For sure. Thanks for joining us today. Until next time.
Take care.
See.